to the Grow with Cara show. Today we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's get to it. Today our special guest is attorney Joe Wilson. Joe is the co-founder and managing partner at Trial Lawyers for Justice Georgia, a personal injury firm in Atlanta. The firm has collected $1.5 billion in verdicts and settlements. We're excited to have him here today. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so to begin, Joe, tell us about your story. Why did you start the firm?
So I've been practicing about 10 years. I originally was a defense lawyer working at a large corporate firm, but knew I wanted to do trial work and eventually switched over to the plaintiff side. And for the previous 5 years, I had my own firm as a solo, which was Joseph Wilson Injury Lawyers. But I've been working with and been mentored by a good friend named Nicholas Rowley for the past 5 years. And we just felt it was a great opportunity to kind of come together. And so we created this new firm, Trial Lawyers for Justice Georgia. And so it's just been awesome to work with him so far on some really substantial cases.
Smart, really smart. What types of injury cases are you primarily handling now?
So really the full gambit of PI cases, obviously your car and trucking cases, medical malpractice cases, even some toxic tort work, as Nick just tried a case in Seattle against Monsanto. So really the full gambit of personal injury cases.
How big is the team? Is it you two attorneys and then support staff?
Correct. So we've got about 5 staff here locally in Georgia, but then we've got staff for Trial Lawyers for Justice that's all over the country that we email and work with regularly too. So we're essentially a big firm. About
how many remote?
Probably say 50 or so, approximately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About how many open case files does the firm have now, if you had to estimate?
So I'd probably say, and I just counted 2 weeks ago, I think we've got about 40 or 50 cases in litigation. So, but they're not your smaller type cases, they're bigger cases.
Right. So you're growing at an impressive clip. What's fueling that growth? How are you guys marketing the firm?
I would say just creating good relationships with referral partners has been big. That's how we get a lot of our bigger cases is through other lawyers. So showing them our expertise in handling significant cases and trying significant cases. And we do that in a number of ways, meeting with the lawyers, being deliberate about meeting with the lawyers and making sure that they're happy with how the co-counsel arrangement is going. Newsletters. We do newsletters directed specifically to referring lawyers, outlining some of the results that we're getting, the offer before we were involved in the case, the offer or the settlement of the verdict after, so they can see for themselves the difference we can make in the case. So, we do a lot of different things. We do a lot on social media, which I think we'll talk about, but those are some of the main drivers, I would say.
Smart. So that newsletter, is that monthly? Is it mailed, a physical copy? Is it emailed?
It's been bi-monthly right now. We may bump it up to monthly probably early 2023, but it's going out via email. So we've got an email list, and I have a team that creates the newsletter. They come to me for the content. I'm all about delegating. So I delegate that out and they get it sent out on ActiveCampaign.
Anything someone else can handle is worth it, right? You stay focused on.
Yeah. I try to focus on the things that I enjoy doing and that specifically bring money into the firm. And if it's something that's going to take up a lot of my time, I'm happy to delegate it.
Smart. That's sometimes easier said than done. So great that you're able to do that. So so we will definitely dive deeply into social media because you're very active on social. But before we get to that, outside of the referral partnership relationships, are you investing in marketing in any other ways or traditional advertising, anything online?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we do Google LSA ads, Google ads. things of that nature, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We do all of that on social media. So I have a budget for that. And sometimes we increase it. Sometimes if it's not going the way we want, we may decrease it. So it's something that's fluid. We look at pretty regularly, and I get reports about the data so I can really look at it and analyze it. And that starts with just knowing your average case value too, to see whether or not your campaigns are going to be profitable or not. So we really are into looking at data.
Smart, smart. So specifically the social media advertising, are you boosting organic posts? Are you posting more traditional Facebook and Instagram ads? Combination of those?
It's a combination. It's a combination. And I can't tell you which has worked better versus boosting versus just an organic ad, but I mean, we do everything, and it's all about testing. And I let the team, I let the folks who do that for a living, I rely on them and their expertise, but we're always testing new things to see what's working, what's not working, and trying to come up with the best ads.
Yeah. And you mentioned you have a weekly or monthly spending budget. How much about are you spending monthly on those ads?
It's monthly. It's not a whole lot, actually. I think the last time I checked, around 10,000 a month,
Okay.
and that may sound like a lot, but it's there's people spending way more than that. But the way we're built, we're not a volume firm anyway. So, and again, the most of our cases come through litigation, so we don't want volume. I don't want an extreme amount of volume anyway.
Right, right. So that's strategic. Yeah. What kind of return are you seeing on the, $10,000 spend? What kind of cases are coming through from that?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with the returns. Again, I base it off of my average case value. So I know if I get, and I'm giving an example, let's say my average case value is $1,000 a case, I'd want to 3x my spend. So I'd need to bring in 30 cases essentially to equal $30,000 in fees, 3x the $10,000 that I'm spending monthly. So that's how I kind of make those decisions. Is how many cases do we bring in? This is what they typically settle for. Okay, this has been a profitable campaign. We can continue this, or we can increase spend, or we can say this isn't working and we need to pivot.
Yeah, and I understand you're not on the front lines of managing the ads, so you might not have the specific insight, but do you know if you have any sort of long running, either boosted posts or advertised videos on social? And if so, what are you promoting? Are you promoting a free consultation? Are you promoting some sort of free resource?
Yeah, I don't know which one's long running.
Yeah.
That's probably a question I could ask, but yeah, I don't know off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, yeah. So let's talk more specifically about social media. You're very active. You're at Joseph Wilson ESQ on Instagram. You have more than 11,000 followers. Is social media a sizable lead driver for the firm?
I would say so for sure, and I've been consistent with it probably for 5 or 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't always have that many followers. It just built up over time.
Yeah.
But we get organic leads through social media, and really, it's a lot about just being top of mind with people, non-lawyers specifically. I'm talking about, so that when something does happen, they may call me. And then once we kind of drill down to how they actually came across me, a lot of times we'll find out, oh, well, I follow him on Instagram and he's always talking about legal issues and things like that. And it just popped in my head to call him first.
Yeah.
So, and then for the lawyers, because a lot of attorneys follow me as well, I'm just trying to put out information that's helpful to them in their practice, and obviously displaying our expertise in the type of work that we do. So just in case they do need somebody to work with or co-counsel with, again, we're top of mind. And, my law partner, Nicholas Rowley, who's got his own Instagram and he's got, I think, 100,000 followers on his. And so that kind of tag team does pretty well.
Smart.
On social media.
Your exposure is impressive. So since social media is obviously a national platform, are you referring out those out-of-state social leads that come through?
It depends on the type of case. So if it's a smaller case or a less substantial injury case, we'll refer it out. And we refer out a lot of cases in Georgia that we don't It may just be a little too small for what we want to handle. If it's a bigger, more substantial case, because we get brought in on a lot of cases out of state. In fact, I just got brought in on one in Missouri, a surgical case. We'll handle that. Nick's barred, my partner's barred in 6 states, and he's basically pro-hawked in on basically every state in the country. And so I'll be doing a lot of that as well, pro-hawking in on cases out of state.
I see. What percentage referral fee are you requesting?
It depends on the case. So we're flexible with that, and we're always fair with that. But it just depends on the case. Like a med mal case would be different than your standard car wreck case, as far as fee split.
That certainly makes sense, right? Tell me about your start on social media. You mentioned you've been active for at least 5 years. Which platform did you use first? Was it Instagram?
It was Instagram, and yeah, it was 6 or 7 years ago. I remember I was working at another firm, and kind of the impetus behind it was I got a bigger fee split if I originated the case. So I would get, I think, 30 or 40% of the fee if I originated the case. So in my mind, I'm like, I can make more money if I bring in the cases versus just ones that are given to me to work on. So that's what prompted me to start the Instagram page, and I would do a weekly legal tip every Thursday, just using my camera phone, and we just kind of grew it, and I just tried to be consistent with it, and kind of built it to what it is now.
Now, are you using a videographer or using professional editors? What does that process look like?
Yes, I have someone on our team who does all the videography work for not only the tips, but also any photographs that I take. She's a photographer as well. She edits everything. So it's all really in-house. And she's able to create a great work product for us.
Great. So where do you sort of find the inspiration for new topic videos? Is that something that's coming from you, coming from her, collaboration?
Mm-hmm. It's a collaboration. She'll come to me with ideas, and sometimes I'll say, yeah, let's do that. Let's not talk about that. But then also just things that are going on in the media. We'll talk about news events and things going on worldwide as well. If there is a legal angle to it, even if it's outside of my area, I'll talk about it because people are interested in it. People are interested and want to know from a legal perspective sometimes why this is so. So we'll do that. We get great viewership on those videos, and we put those on YouTube also. So we've got a YouTube page. So all of our videos go on the YouTube page too. So yeah, it's really a wide variety of things. So I'll talk about specific trials that I've had or a specific settlement. We did a trucking series not too long ago where I'm giving tips on handling trucking cases and why they're different than car wreck cases. So whatever it is that can be helpful to other lawyers or lay people who may find themselves in this situation, or just something that's just interesting to them. And lastly, from time to time, because I think social media is all about trying to be authentic and just not being somebody who's fake that people can't relate to. So we'll even put out blooper videos from time to time. Yeah. Kayla's really good, and my videographer is really good about recording me while I'm messing up and things like that. And so those are always pretty fun.
I bet those perform really well, actually.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah. Yeah. So many of the guests I've had on this show are, echoing what you're saying with that sort of everyday law approach, not being so narrowly focused on only injury specific topics, but being more of kind of that trusted legal advisor where you're commenting on trending either cases or just breaking news in general, or you're talking about topics that would appeal more broadly to the everyday person who may or may not be looking for an attorney, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the goal.
Are you shooting videos in batches? How often do you shoot?
So the goal was to do it once a month and get a month's worth of content, but that never seems to happen. So it's more often on a weekly basis. She'll say, "Hey, we're out of content." Yeah. And so that'll force me to sit down and actually record with her. So it's on a weekly basis. And then oftentimes, we'll get a settlement or a new verdict that comes in, and she'll create something around that. Because I think it's very important to post your settlements, post your verdicts. It's not to brag, it's not to pat yourself on the back, but again, you're showing your expertise in your area. So there may be a lawyer out there who's had a similar case and they may want to talk with you about it. So, but if they don't know you're doing that work, then it's out of sight, out of mind.
You are posting a broad variety of video types and topics, as you say. Is there a topic that tends to perform best for you over and over again?
I would say just when we tackle things that are in the news that are just ubiquitous, those do really well. Like I think when Bill Cosby was on trial, I analyzed that one, and there was a lot of commentary on that one because people have a lot of opinions, and they want to understand the legalese better. So those ones where it's just ubiquitous and everybody's talking about it, we try to get on those immediately. Like, so she'll tell me, "Hey, this just happened in the news. We need to record today so we can post it tomorrow so that it's still fresh."
Right. Was there a sort of a turning point, Joe, when your follower growth really seemed to ramp up? Because you have been doing it for quite a while now. Was there a point where it seemed to really be gaining traction?
I can't pinpoint a particular time frame or date. It was just really gradual, I think, over time. Obviously, I didn't start with 11,000. So, I mean, there had to be a period where it jumped up quite a bit, but I can't pinpoint it. I do notice now, after I partnered up, like I said, with Nicholas Rowley, and he's got so many people that follow him, and he made a post about it. That's caused a lot more lawyers to follow me, but that's the only thing that I could probably point to.
Sure. Maybe it's more about the consistency. You've been doing it over and over,
Right.
providing that value for so long, right? Uh,
Yes,
are you also on TikTok or any other platforms?
I am. I'm never on it. My videographer posts things out there. I have no clue. I've never logged in there before, but yeah, I could do a little bit better job on TikTok because you have to create videos in a way that's consistent with how the best performing videos are on TikTok. I
Yeah.
just haven't been really into it yet.
It's kind of a beast of its own, right? So most of the
Hmm.
leads, most of the referrals seem to be coming from Instagram for you at this point.
Yes, so we posted on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Oh, LinkedIn too. LinkedIn, you're taking more of a referral partner approach or a colleague to colleague?
Yeah, for referral partner, colleague to colleague, I've had defense lawyers refer us cases. So um, I'm careful. I mean, it depends on what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
whether I decide to post it on LinkedIn, because, like I said, there are my adversaries on there.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
but we try to engage on there too.
Smart, smart. Yeah, you're just everywhere, basically. Yeah. Are there social cases that are coming either calling your office directly, or are they kind of coming through comments or through direct
Mhm.
messages? What are you seeing? How are you seeing that intake come through?
Yeah, I would say the majority call the office, and I train our intake specialists to drill down to get to the root of how they came to find us. But
Right.
also, people will message me,
Hmm.
and so I have to always remember to check my filter and the messages from people who I don't necessarily follow to make sure I don't miss anything. Because
Right.
invariably, I always look through it. And I'm like, oh, man, I didn't respond to this person. It's been 3 weeks, so
Right.
just regularly checking those messages too to make sure you don't miss anything.
How much time would you say weekly you're spending on engaging with messages and direct DMs?
Oh, probably an hour or less.
Yeah.
It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about a little bit more about the referring cases. How are you building your network of attorneys on social? Is it just sort of organic, or are you taking specific steps to really reach out and grow that network?
I would say we're being intentional about it. Um, so a lot of the emails that we gather are obviously starting with the people who I already know and who I've worked with in the past. And then just getting out there and networking and actually meeting people, shaking hands with people, just and continuing to grow that list.
Mhm.
And I've got people on our team that do that same thing with lawyers to help grow that list, so we can grab lunch with them and get to know them better first, and then see if there is a way for us to work together. I haven't used social media or Instagram to scrub emails.
Mm.
Like I said, people message me often, other lawyers, and so we build friendships. They may get added onto the email list via that, but other than that, I'm not scrubbing emails via or trying to necessarily grab emails via social media. A
Sure.
lot of times, again, it just comes via message that they want to work together.
Sure, sure. What types of cases are typically coming through social media, and how does the quality compare to some of your other marketing channels?
So, on a consumer level or a layperson level, when they reach out, it's typically a car wreck case. 9 times out of 10, it's a car wreck case. Those tend to be, at least when they come via that way, the less serious ones. The more serious cases seem to come from lawyers, although we do get some serious cases that are organic, but the vast majority of the serious 6, 7, 8 figure type cases are referred from other lawyers who we have a relationship with, or who wants to work with me, or who wants to work with Nick.
Right, right. Outside of social media, Joe, is there anything else that you're doing to keep in touch with past clients, or to really kind of encourage that word of mouth marketing?
Well, we just had our 5 year anniversary gala or event in October, which was great. We
Fun.
got to reconnect with past clients, with co-counsel on cases, and so I'm thinking we're going to make that an annual event because everybody had such a great time. Not just, again, I think that's a way just to, we're always working, we're emailing each other, we're calling each other, but just a time just to get together, have some fun, have a few drinks, and just enjoy each other's company. So we'll probably make that an annual event. And I think that'll be a great marketing tool too.
That's smart. Yeah. What about community involvement? Does the firm do anything locally with the community?
We do. We annually do a backpack giveaway. We did one this year in August at Perkerson Elementary in Southwest Atlanta. Um, I've actually got to go back and speak there pretty soon too, but I'm always asked to speak at a lot of different places all over the Atlanta area, and if my schedule permits, I'm always there. But we definitely try to engage with the community, and like I said, we do the annual book bag giveaway, and plan to continue that too.
That's cool. Very cool. So before we wrap up, Joe, I always like to ask if a lawyer watching only has time to adopt one, maybe two of your tips, what would you recommend?
I would just say start, just do it, because a lot of folks feel uncomfortable getting in front of a camera and talking about their expertise or talking about a settlement that they've gotten in the past. But if people don't know about you, they're not going to work with you. At the end of the day, if you're in business, you have to be in marketing as well. It's just a part of being a business owner. So just turning the camera on and start posting.
I love that. Just start. What was the start like for you? Were you instantly comfortable in front of the camera, or what did that journey look like?
Uh, I was always pretty decent in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You gotta get over, and I still deal with this. When you're putting yourself out there in that way, you're open to criticism. You're open to people not liking certain things that you do. And you just have to take it with a grain of salt. If it's something that can be helpful to you, maybe apply it. If it's just somebody being a hater or being negative, reject it and ignore it. So just dealing with that took a little bit to get over initially.
Right.
Because at least back in 6, 7 years ago, folks weren't doing a lot of social media videos, and they definitely weren't doing settlement flyers and things like that. So that was taboo. I remember some lawyers reaching out like, "Oh, you're posting your settlement flyers. You think you're bragging? You think you're?"
Uh,
I was just like, "No, I'm just marketing. It's not
right.
bragging. I'm just marketing."
Right.
But now I see them everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you were a pioneer in that way. Yeah. What are your feelings on sharing personal posts, family posts, kind of sprinkling those in?
Yeah, I think that all goes back to being authentic. My family is a big part of why I do what I do. So I post photos I don't want to just be posting about legal stuff all the time. I mean, it starts to go on deaf ears. So I make posts with my family. We're out doing fun things with my kids, things that show me as a human being, not just a lawyer. And also that tells your clients as well, subliminally, that I don't work Monday through Sunday, that I have a life too.
Right,
So,
right.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it definitely contributes to that authenticity, to that building of trust, bringing that human aspect. Prospective clients want to know what it will be like interacting with you, interacting with your firm, and I think that gives them kind of a look under the hood and really, an idea of what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agreed.
Awesome, Joe. Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time today and sharing your experience. It was a sincere pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk about the top takeaways from Joe. Number one, case value governs marketing spend. Higher value cases can support a larger marketing budget, right? Joe looks for about a 3-to-1 return, meaning he'll spend a third his expected average fee to get a signed case. Number two, referral sources need reminders. In addition to periodic FaceTime or phone time, regularly sent content will keep you top of mind with those referral sources. Joe says he sends an every other month email newsletter detailing his results, and then he includes prior offers and then the ultimate settlements and verdicts. Number three, organic social requires long-term consistency. Long-term consistency. Remember, Joe has more than 11,000 Instagram followers and gets cases large and small from his profile, but he's posted more than 1,100 times over the last 7 years. He and his videographer shoot weekly. Number four, newsjacking works, right? Newsjacking works. We've heard it from many of my guests. So commenting on news that has a legal aspect can really generate those large number of views and pull in followers. But remember, newsjacking requires timely turnaround if your post is going to be fresh. So you have to be on it. Number five, everyday law works too. Concisely explaining those legal topics that affect the daily lives of consumers. That is the single best way to generate views and generate followers on Instagram and social media in general. So police actions, driving rules, DUI, criminal law, those are all popular topics. And unlike newsjacking, these everyday law videos can be batch recorded well in advance of posting. You can then kind of sprinkle in your specialty specific items like case results to really demonstrate expertise, right? So much good stuff today. Thank you, Joe, for sharing so much with us. And thanks to everyone for joining us. See you soon for another episode of the Grow with Cara Show, happening very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.